Black Clover Chapter 287, the unofficial release, is out. And before I even talk about the chapter, because this was a good chapter, we have been getting some leaks the past few days that have been nothing but awesome news. So for starters, we got a new volume cover. Then we had a color spread, which looks amazing because we see Asta in his new Devil Union form, and we also see Spirit of Boreas form. We get a Black Clover issue 17 cover, and on the cover it confirms that Black Clover is getting a movie, which I will make a video about once we have like a release date and more details about it. But this is exciting news, right? Like, it's good to be a Black Clover fan right now. It's an exciting time to be one. And speaking of excitement, this chapter was full of it. But before we get started on this chapter review, guys, remember, if you are new to the channel, subscribe with notification bells on. We hit 31,000 a few days ago, and we're already close to 32,000 already. So let's get there, and let's get to 1,500 likes again. Well, I know we surpassed it last time, but let's try to see how far we can go with this, right? So let's talk about Black Clover Chapter 287, Day of Atonement. So this chapter still picks up where Nacht is going against Naamah and Lilith, and they are still holding him up in their little ice magic fire combo spell. And we see this inner dialogue with Nacht, and he talks about how he really doesn't mind dying, and that he can't die until their victory becomes guaranteed, but he can't say it anymore until he gets rid of these high-ranking devils. And we also get information on his devils and where they rank in the underworld, and why he couldn't hurt the devils to begin with. Nacht states that all the devils he made contract with are mid-ranking devils. That's why it was impossible to touch them, because a lot of people had the assumption that maybe Nacht couldn't hurt these devils because he's not arcane. But since Nacht is a devil user, he is arcane, because arcane, how Lord Pachika described it, is incomprehensible magic, and also people that dab into forbidden magic or are using otherworld magic. Nacht dives into forbidden magic during the devil binder ritual, and also can use characteristic traits of his devils. It wouldn't make sense that you need to be arcane to fight devils, and you're using the power of devils and not be arcane, you know what I mean? Besides having a lot of magic or using ultimate magic, which the Dryad explained. But Nacht is arcane. I feel like I gotta make a entire video about arcane, because there is a confused concept within the community. A lot of people don't understand it, which is understandable because it's still something new. So I will probably make an updated video on arcane to pretty much re-explain it, but in better detail. We then see a flashback of Nacht right in front of Morgan's gravestone with Yami right behind him, and Yami talks about that he's going to make his own squad one day, and it'll be funny if Nacht became his own vice captain. And if it becomes true, please be my own vice captain one day. And we see the cigarettes that are on the ground. Yami picks them up and starts smoking them himself. And honestly, it seems as though this smoking habit that Yami has came from Nacht, because we saw Nacht in the flashbacks that he was the one that was always smoking. We didn't see Yami have a single cigarette in his mouth the entire time. But when he seen those same cigarettes that were next to Nacht when Nacht was crying in front of Morgan's grave, Yami took those cigarettes and started smoking them himself, which is very interesting. It seemed as though Yami just kept doing this over time. It just became a strong habit. So it could have started from Nacht, because also Yami felt some type of way when Morgan died, because they were also close as well. We then go back to the present, and Nacht is talking about how no matter how much he atones for his sins, he cannot forgive himself. I can't be like Morgan. I shouldn't be like Morgan, because we know that Nacht is trying to look like his brother. And for Nacht to say that he shouldn't be like Morgan, he can't be like Morgan, it makes me think if Nacht survived this arc, I can see him going back to his original white hair and just changing his whole look into his original self. We then see a new spell from Nacht called Shadow Magic Reign of Atonement, where the entire floor that they're fighting on turns black, and we see all these shadow hands come about. And Nacht states that by sacrificing myself, I will shut you into my shadow world, which seems as though this could be something similar going on, just like how Dorothy has her glamour world. Nacht has his own shadow world, which if he does have a shadow world, that's probably where he brought that Spade Kingdom soldier when he first showed up in Dante's room, and when he dragged his body underground, that's probably where he brought him. And the description of this spell is interesting. Nacht states that where light, life, and death doesn't exist. That's a weird description. That's a weird concept of Nacht's magic, because it's like that spell is bringing him to some kind of dark void, a void of nothingness. That's crazy to me, because I think if Nacht would have used this spell against anyone else besides his devils, they would have had a hard time getting out of this, because how can you get out of nothingness? And after Nacht, Naamah, and Lilith disappeared, we see them rise back up, and we see shadows appear, and we see fire and ice, and Nacht just look busted. He's beat up very bad. And Nacht is saying, I can't believe it. How did they destroy something that doesn't exist? And we see Naamah and Lilith, they're just laughing and their bodies are covered within their magic. And we can already know just from here, their magic, their regular flame magic and regular ice magic, ain't nothing regular about it, right? We all thought that, okay, maybe it's a devil type attribute, but it's still regular properties at the end of the day, just more potent. Nah, there ain't nothing normal about their ice or fire magic at all. Nacht explained that they were burning and freezing concept. Like, how? Mind you, these are the weakest devils that are part of the Tree of Cliff-Off. So I can imagine. I always say in every chapter view, I can only imagine how strong the next devil would be. I'm done saying that because I can't imagine anymore. You burning concepts? Yeah, GG for everybody. Like, Nacht is a vice captain with 4 devils and nothing is working. And clearly, we already know since he is a vice captain, his power level and skill-wise is not vice captain level. He's clearly above Gildray, he's clearly above Kaiser, he's clearly above Real. Charlotte is up for debate because Nacht is very fast and we really haven't seen any speed feats from Charlotte, but you get my point. Nacht is clearly captain level. And Naamah and Lilith together are beyond that, so the next devil will be Wizard King level? Is that what you're trying to tell us, Tabata? Because this power creep is about to get insane. Because one thing I totally forgot to mention was that Nacht fused with both of his devils during this time. He fused with his rooster devil and his cat devil, which I believe the form looks awesome, but that wasn't enough when he activated this spell. So Nacht was surpassing his limits during this time, and I believe that if he had all his devils, it's possible. Because I made a video theorizing about 4 or 5 months ago that it's possible that Nacht could fuse with all his devils, and we've seen 2 already, just fusing with 2. He only's fighting with 3 devils and he's missing Gimodello, and Gimodello had the trait pack. I believe if Nacht had that, he would fight better against these 2. He probably would have still lost, but it would have been better. Because these 2 devils, they are just laughing their tail off against Nacht. Like, Nacht starts to realize that in the beginning, these 2 were just having fun. And they finally use their full power in a sense. And once they used their full power, it was over. Nacht was seconds away of being defeated. Well, he was defeated, but he was only seconds away of dying. Because Lilith reached out to him and says, let's hear your last strained voice, ready to kill him immediately. And then we see the narration. It talks about that there is no human that can defeat the highest ranking devils. And then we see Asta comes flying in with this Devil Union form, looking buff as heck, because we see his last Devil Union form when he transformed the first time, and he looked much skinnier, so I think that Tabata definitely made it more buff. Maybe one of his editors suggests that, hey, maybe you should make Asta more buff in his Devil Union form so it can match his body type. To me, I like this variation of the design a lot more. But when he charges in, he cuts Naamah's arm completely off, and Naamah, you know, the reaction of it is so slow. He's looking at his arm like, huh? Like, what happened? And then the narration of this chapter ends off saying, if there's one thing that can defeat a high-ranking devil, then that would be anti-magic. With the chapter ending of Asta saying, hey, what do you think you're doing to the vice captain of the Black Bulls? And that was how this chapter ended, with a cliffhanger, which let us know that the Black Bulls have also made it to the Spade Kingdom because they the ones that brought Asta. So this war is definitely going to get more intense after this, because I can't wait to see how everyone else would do. And if Zora and Magna are there, because I believe that Magna and Zora are on the battlefield as well, I'm excited to see those 2 back in action. However, I am very excited to see this next fight, next chapter, because Asta and Liba, I believe that Liba has some sort of connection to Naamah and Lilith. Main reason why, because Liba is a weak devil, you know, so he was at the weakest level, which we already know the weakest level on the Tree of Cliff-Off is where Naamah and Lilith are at in the underworld. And we've seen how Liba was tossed out. He said he ticked off some high-ranking devil one day, and you see that hand looks very much like Naamah and Lilith's hand. So I think when they fight, you know what, I'll just make a video about that, because the only way you're able to see that video is that if you subscribe to the channel with notification bells on. You guys have an awesome life. Take care of yourself, stay blessed, and I'm out.